Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Seam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, with my co-partner on the other side, Cantu. How we doing today?
We're doing good, staying warm out here. I know it's very chilly outside. It's Wednesday, and it's still cold. But we still kind of, you know, even though it's cold on Wednesday, I feel like we're in New York now. Everything's back to normal. It's just cold.
Yep, as we're recording this on a Tuesday, it is 32 currently degrees outside, and tomorrow's low, which you're listening to this on a Wednesday, 21 degrees.
It's pretty cold.
This is not a Houston kind of weather. I mean, 20, 30 even. You can't even say the weather out here. I mean, it's nice, but gosh, I mean, it's pretty damn cold. But wherever
What,
you're listening, hopefully you're staying warm and
what
safe.
what would you prefer before we start talking about the Astros? In August, it was about 100 and something degrees. You prefer that, or you prefer this cold winter chill?
I'm a guy that loves the heat. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
I could deal with the heat. Obviously, playing baseball on like 100-degree turf. I mean, I'm used to it, so I'd rather take the heat. Actually, just gotta drink a lot of water at the same time.
yeah. Nah, I like the cold. This is fine for me.
Maybe that's why I'm dark. That's why my skin color is all like milk chocolate. I guess you could say. Anyway, we got Astros Roundup, episode 152. We're going to towel this Graveman out. What's next for the bullpen? Obviously, you've heard the news already. Kendall Graveman will be out for the whole 2024 season after having surgery on his right shoulder. We'll get more info on that in a little bit, but on Astros Roundup, player signed in the international poll as well. We'll talk about our projected relievers that the Astros should go after. Obviously, Dana Brown has had talked about going after relievers now, trade and via free agency. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Arbitration hearings are finished, but we have one player looking to win his arbitration case. And then, of course, what's the stove cooking in the offseason? But Angel, like we were talking about, Kendall Graveman, Astros had gotten him on a trade last year, sent out Corey Lee, brought in Graveman back to the Astros organization. Of course, you saw how what he did during his tenure, I believe in 2021 with them in that setup, bro. I mean, he did a phenomenal job, I'd say, after trading away Toro and then getting him and Rafael Montero from that Mariners trade. But now, which is out of the blue, honestly, because I didn't expect Kendall Graveman to be out for the 2024 season. I remember him dealing with an injury going into the postseason. Obviously, he wasn't available in the postseason, but now it's official. He will not be pitching in 2024. So,
Yeah.
where were you when you found out this news? Because, like I said, it was just out of nowhere. It was almost like the Michael Bradley retirement kind of news.
We were watching my wife and I were watching a Mission Impossible movie at the time, and it was early
Shout out Tom
on.
Cruise.
Yeah, it was early on. They were trying to put the baby to sleep, and I just happened to get on my phone, and then I saw a little email, and then I was like, "Oh man, he's out for the season." But he did try to rehab. I mean, like you said, he was injured in the like before the postseason. He could not pitch, and he tried to rehab and just rest. And I guess they said the Astros mentioned he threw on flat ground to get ready for spring training, and ultimately surgery was required. I guess he still had pain in that shoulder.
Yeah, which is interesting though too that he didn't get the surgery right after the season if it continued to bother him. Like you were saying, he did rehab, but it didn't look like progress was being made. It didn't look like anything was working out. You would have thought, okay, if I'm dealing with this injury, maybe I should go ahead and go get surgery after the season finish and then be prepared for, I guess, what's looking like this whole year. He's not going to pitch, but possibly he could have been pitching in late September or really early September as well. So very interesting
Yeah,
to see about that.
yeah, I think he was just trying to like avoid the surgery
Avoid it.
altogether, and because again, if you have surgery, like you said, there's a chance he might be back, but late September. Whereas if you can fix the shoulder issue with just rest and rehab, you're available hopefully throughout the entire season. So I think he was just trying to avoid that.
Yeah, and then shoulder surgery too. That that is painful. I've heard that is one of the most painful surgeries, like from ACL to Achilles.
Yikes.
Whenever you're going undergoing surgery, like knocking on wood, I've never had to go through that. But hearing shoulder surgery, which my dad had at a time, that is very very painful. Of course, it's
Because
dealing with
you,
the rotator cuff as well.
yeah, because you use it for everything, so it's just kind of hard to
Definitely.
stop.
Definitely. So, like we are mentioning, Astros announced right-handed pitcher Kendall Graveman underwent right shoulder surgery, has put him out for the entire 24 season. Did not pitch in the postseason, like we said. Rested in rehab, threw on flat ground to get ready for spring training, but ultimately it looked like surgery was required. So Brian McTaggart, of course, Astros beat writer, had to come up and had said, Dana Brown, the team is focused on bringing in another reliever via free agency or trade. This is what Browns had said. I feel like we have several internal candidates that are good, but we're still in the market for relievers, which is very interesting because we just put out our
Yeah,
bullpen projections of how the rotation and the bullpen's going to look like for the Astros. But now here we go.
yeah,
There's
and then
that could be going
sorry,
in.
and then Graveman was a guy we each had, and
Yep.
I'm sure every Astros like if you were every Astros fan that were to make a bullpen list, Kendall Graveman would have been on 100% of those
Y-
projections.
Yeah, so bullpen availability in the 40-man roster as of right now, you got Ryan Presley, Brian Abreu, Brandon Belak, Bennett Souza, Dylan Coleman, Ronel Blanco, Seth Martinez, Rafael Montero, Matt Gage, and of
And
course
that's not
we you were talking about was Forrest Whitley.
yeah, and then that's not even counting like JP France or Hunter Brown as well.
Yeah, and then of course you're not listing Luis Garcia, you're not listing Lance McCullers Jr. But I mean, this is a huge. I think this is a huge loss for the Astros because you brought this guy back under control, with the contract status and everything like that. I think he has 2 years on his contract. Now it's going to be -1 because of this injury, which he won't be, pitching through. But, the relievers under contract right now, like for instance, Ryan Presley is going to be making 14 million this year. 11.5 million for Rafael Montero, and Graveman will be making 8 million this year. Obviously, the Astros had talked about it could be possibly they could get insured through this situation that they're going through right now, but I don't know how that works. So, of course, you have to think who are the guys that can step up. Like Dana Brown said, they have some guys internally that can step up through the farm system or just throughout the 40-man roster. Or like he said as well, you could go via free agency, you could go through a trade outlook. So I mean, Angel, how are we feeling? How are we feeling about that situation, the Astros bullpen, and give me your potential candidates that can possibly step up via free agency or through trade.
Yeah, so I think the Astros are close to that panic button because I feel like if one more arm down, then you definitely need to start making some moves. And I know Dana Brown has been stern on that, overpaying for a reliever. You saw what happened with the Rafael Montero contract, kind of like keeps their hands tied a little bit about making some moves on that. So that is something they do not want to do. So if we're looking at guys that are available, I'm thinking Josh Hader's out because he's gonna want a big contract. I know you can talk about this guy later, but for me personally, I think Aroldis Chapman is out because everywhere he goes, it's millions of dollars that you know, you know, that he is requiring. So I kind of crossed those out, and I put some guys that could, are trying to get back where it was, and then I put one that could be a lot of money, but kind of worth it, at this point. But let's start with Hector Neris. Now, for Hector Neris, you're hoping for that hometown discount a little bit, but he could easily say, "I want the Montero money that y'all gave him," right? But Hector Neris will be great if he continues in the Astros bullpen. He's only 35 years old. He's 90th percentile in pitching run value, which was pretty amazing for a bullpen guy. Expected batting average of 196, which puts him in the 95th percentile, and he was 6-3 with a 1.71 ERA this past season. And you all saw it. You all saw how great, how clutch Hector Neris was in those situations where bases loaded, no outs, or bases loaded, one out. He had to get the big pitch to get the big key guy, and he was able to do it. So you're familiar with his game, and he'll be nice in that Astro uniform once again.
Yeah, he'll give you that energy too. If you
Oh
remember
yeah,
stomping on the
yeah.
field and beating his chest. I mean, you love to see that from a
And
player, especially in the bullpen role.
no, absolutely, you're absolutely right. And sometimes that can be a momentum shifter too. He gets that big strikeout,
Mhm.
it just amps everybody up, and makes you want to play your part as well for the team. But yeah, I agree with that. I love the enthusiasm for Hector Neris as well. Now let's talk about Michael Fulmer. Uh,
Ooh, interesting one.
if I do recall correctly, I think he was Rookie of the Year. was a kind of like a failed starter in Detroit. I want to say failed because he did have some early success, just injuries plagued him, and now he's in the relief role. Think about a Forrest Whitley, but in the major leagues, right? Instead of just in the minor
Mhm.
leagues. Um, but as I was looking at his numbers, yeah, he had a 4.42 ERA last season. That's not good, right? But he doesn't get hit really hard. He's in the 90th percentile on hard hit contract, and his whip percentage is 33.5%, which puts him in a 92 percentile. So he's gonna get you swing and misses. And to me, on that, to me, when you're pitching to one or two guys, sometimes that's all you need. Just sometimes miss some bats. You don't need to be out there long, so maybe that ERA could be lower down a little bit. And then this other guy, Kenyon
Real quick,
Middleton.
yeah,
Go ahead,
real
go ahead,
quick.
go
Let
ahead.
me give you Rookie of the Year 2016, Cy Young. He was 10th on the voting, and then the next year he was an All Star. So after that, it's just been downhill, like you're saying. A lot of injuries.
Yeah, and thank you for that, because just to give the fans a little insight of how good Michael Farmer could be, right? It's just
Yeah,
maybe, he's had changed the sceneries. He was in Chicago last time, but something about Houston that just gets the best out of guys sometimes, and
it's true.
maybe it could be a repeat for him. Now, Kenyon Middleton and Lorenzo reminded me off air. He did have some words to say about the Astros, kind of like hesitant, but overall, I think he is really good. Um, he was a 2-2 record last year with a 3.84 ERA, 96 percentile whiff rate, and 91 percentile strikeout rate. He's a three pitcher type of guy. His main pitch is a changeup, which he has a opponent batting average of 209. Then he has a slider, and then he comes at you like tries to surprise you with a fastball, which was a 120.122 batting average as well. So he has some pretty good stuff. And I mean, again, I know the beef with the Astros, about everything that went on could play a big part, but again, right now you got injuries. You got three guys out through free agency as well. Sometimes you gotta, put your ego aside and get the best guys that are gonna get you outs in that bullpen. And then this other guy, again, I think it'll probably be a little bit of overpaid, but he did show pretty good numbers. And Yankees fans are familiar with this dude as well. Wandy Peralta. I think he'll be great in the Astros uniform. 4.2 record, 3.88 ERA. He's a lefty, and as the Astros know, lefties are hard to come by out of the
Yeah,
bullpen. He's a ground ball pitcher, so like just a little comparison, I would say like a Dallas Keuchel type of guy. Doesn't like he's not going to overpower you with the fastball. Relies more on location and off speed. He doesn't get hit hard, and just to look at his stats, he is a changeup pitcher. So his best pitch is a changeup, 185 batting average, and then he comes at you with the sinker. It's a 219 opponent batting average. But just so I'm gonna give you this fact. I just told you that Wandy Peralta is an off-speed pitcher, changeup that is Keiko type of guy. He does throw a fastball though, and guess what his opponent batting average for that fastball was?
I'm guessing like a 2 or 3. Because I mean, if he's not throwing that hard, I'm pretty sure he could get pretty hard hit off of that fastball.
Zero
Wow,
on the fastball. Zero.
0.
Zero. Now the expected batting average was 113, but the batting average officially was zero on the fastball. And he's not gonna throw it a lot, but when he does, he gets out with it.
Honestly, that's shocking. I still can't believe 0 on a 4 seam fastball, and
Yeah,
especially he doesn't even throw it that hard. He don't throw 95 plus, especially.
no.
So
So that's the type of guy I think Astros need. I think location, because he has to be spot on. He needs to be like he's not gonna overpower you, and I think that's what they need.
love it. I do like that Michael Fulmer one. Honestly, that one's very underrated. I feel like he's still got something to prove. He's probably the youngest free agent in a relief role.
Yeah,
He has some accolades that kind of show what he has, the potential he could bring, and like you said, bringing guys to Houston, something about it, just rejuvenate their careers. Hector Neris, Charlie Moore, and Garrett Cole. I mean, we could continue listing a bunch of names, but great list that you gave us right there. Real quick, I'm gonna give you my 4. Give me Lou Trevino. You remember this guy, right?
I do.
He pitched for the Oakland Athletics 2020, 2019. I mean, he was a great relief pitcher coming out of the bullpen for the A's. Of course, now the Las Vegas A's. But anyway, Trevino, I mean, he did have Tommy John surgery. He was with the Yankees. And this past winter, the Yankees declined and they both went their separate ways. So he's a free agent right now. But like I was saying, he's coming back from Tommy John surgery. He had it in early May 2023. So there's a chance that you won't see Trevino pitch until early May, mid May, or even late May. So that's the only part of maybe not giving him a contract yet. He does have a 7 percentile with a 52.3 ground ball percentage. Of course, that's very clutch in some situations of trying to get a double play, ending in a double play, especially, and preventing the ball going in the air. One thing I want to tell you too, the sinker and slider combo that this guy has is very great. Sinker 95 averages about 95 to 97 miles per hour, while the slider going 81 to 83. I want to say Alex Bregman said, I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think Alex Bregman said Lou Trevino is one of the hardest guys to face when he's up to the plate. It's either him
That's
or
about right.
Jonathan Laziga.
Lasagna, lasagna,
Yeah,
something
what
like that.
I don't know how to say that last name, to be honest with you, but yeah, that
Okay.
guy is either between him and Trevino. So that says a lot, especially coming from a two-time World Series champion. My next one on the list, I think Astro fans will love a return of this guy, Colin McHugh. 36 years old, 37 years old, former Astro. Of course, you remember his time from 2015 to, I think, free agency wise, I think it was 2019 or 2020 that he had left. Obviously, he went to the Tampa Bay Rays, he went to the Atlanta Braves, and right now he is a free agent. Nasty sweeper, and sweeper or curveball, whatever one you want to call it, and a cutter with good movement. So I wouldn't mind seeing a reunion with Colin McHugh if you're looking for a 1 year, 2 year kind of deal. You could go after him. Next on the list, I'm gonna give this guy a chance. He hasn't really shown a lot, but I remember at a time the Astros were looking at him under the radar, and that is Michael Givens, who used to be with the Baltimore Orioles. Now he's a free agent, but I feel like he's looking to reinvent himself, rejuvenate that career of his because it hasn't looked great ever since 2019. 11.23 ERA in 6 games and 4 innings last year with the Orioles. 2022, he had an average to great strikeout percentage, which just says a lot. If you're going to be in a setup role or possibly middle relief role, 94 to 96 miles per hour fastball. So he does have the stuff. He does have that high rising swing and miss you want from a reliever. So I don't think this guy, you could give him a chance. You're basically
Like it.
trying to get guys that are gonna, you're taking a risk, and but it's a safe risk at the same time. And I
I
think
like
this
the
guy,
method.
Michael Fulmer too, is another one that I was saying you could give these guys a chance because they have the stuff, they have the potential. It's just for them rejuvenate their careers, I'd say. Last but not least on my list, and this is going to be an interesting one because you already had said it, and I know a lot of Astro fans wouldn't like seeing this guy in an Astros uniform. But like you said, when you need somebody, you need somebody. You need relief pitchers. Aroldis Chapman. And hear me out. Hear me out before we start getting whatever, why we're gonna bring him back. Why not bring him back, but bring him into Houston, and you've seen what he does under pressure and chokes. Slow it down. Slow it down. Let's step by step, step by step. Last year, the winner, he signed a 1 year, $3.75 million contract with the Kansas City Royals. Okay. I'm not saying that he's going to make 3.75 right now, but there's a possibility you could look at the 5 to 7 margin, I guess you could say. 100 miles per hour fastball plus sinker. Like we had talked with Billy Wagner, when you're pitching over 100 or just pitching very fast at this rate at the MLB level, you're guaranteed a spot on a roster. And he's going to be guaranteed a spot. A slider that breaks, of course, you've seen from, I believe, I recall the Astro series. A lot of players at the play were just not looking good with the slider, except Jose Altuve. If you remember that, it's on our intro video as well. But leaving Altuve out of this, he's a lefty in the bullpen, which I think the Astros do need to add another lefty. If they're not going to continue with Matt Gage, if they're not going to continue with Bennett Souza, then why not go after Aroldis Chapman? You need a lefty on your roster, and I think Chapman could be a beneficial part. Hear me out about this. Everybody knows his role as a closer, okay? Because that's what he's known for since the Reds, the Cubs, the Yankees. Now, to me, he's not in that closing role no more. I mean, he could be for any other team, but for me, you already have Ryan Presley. Your eighth guy could be Brian Abreu, and seven, you can put a Aroldis Chapman. Now imagine that. Just imagine 100 plus fastball and sinker with the slider mix. Then you got to go to Brian Abreu, who has basically the same stuff as Chapman, but in a right-handed pitcher, and then you close it off with Ryan Presley. That it just in your mind, it just reads you like, wow, that is a 6, 7, 8, 9 that you do not want to mess with. So seventh inning, here's his numbers in the seventh inning. In 7 games, he only allowed 1 home run, 6 walks, 11 strikeout, opponent batting average of 143. And the eighth inning right here, which Bruce Bochy did a lot last year with the Rangers with him in the trade deadline, he had Will Smith be in the ninth, and he had Chapman in the eighth. Chapman found a lot of success in the eighth inning. Honestly, he did, because that's where he pitched the most. In 34 games, which is the most games he pitched through 7, 8, and 9, he had 20 hits, 14 walks, 57 strikeouts, and a 169 opponent batting average. That's not bad. Honestly, you already got your closer in Presley. I think this guy would be a beneficial part if he still wants to continue to win in his career. I believe he's a 2-time World Series champion, one with the Cubs and one with now the Rangers. And I feel like Houston's the best for Cuban players. Yuli Gurriel put Houston on the map for Cuban players. Basically, he was a trailblazer for the Cubans, because now since Gurriel, you have Yuli, you've had Aledmus Diaz, you've had Jordan Alvarez, which I mean, obviously, you still have. And I feel like and then Jose Abreu, and
And
then
the
of
Astros just
course,
signed two more Cubans too.
yeah, and they're one of the most known for, organizations in signing Cubans. So that says a lot. So the Astros have a great connection with Cuban players within the organization, and Aroldis Chapman's Cuban. I'm pretty sure he does have some friends here and there in the Astros organization, and I think Jose Altuve would love him. Would love to see a Chapman in an Astros uniform. Of course, it'd be. I think a lot of Astro fans would like to see him face Chapman, but why not? Bring a lefty that throws 100 plus with a fastball and sinker. Wouldn't mind it at all.
Strong case. I like it. I know at the beginning I was like pushing the buzzer. I was like, nah, but the strong case, strong case. I mean, I do agree with right now, like again, the Astros are close to the panic button. I would say if any, whoever's
So, so,
available.
so let me ask you this: if they don't sign, like for instance, I honestly, in my personal opinion, I think they need to grab Hector Neris no matter what right
Yeah.
now. Go over the luxury tax. You have to get a solid reliever, and you've heard the saying. You cannot, with the pitching, there's not enough pitching. You could continue on signing pitchers, because that's what the Rangers did last year, and look what they did. Same thing in 22 with the Astros. So my question to you: if you don't sign Hector Neris, do you see the championship window going down and possibly the Astros fighting for a wild card spot this year if they don't sign a reliever kind of like Neris?
I wouldn't say it throws their chances out the window. It'll be
Mhm.
hard. We're looking more of a repeat type of season this year where they're fighting tooth and nail for those last few games. But they do need to make something big because again, Rangers are still good, Mariners are still good, and Angels are making moves to get better. So I don't think it takes them out, that dynasty window or that championship window. I still
Yeah,
think they have a good team all around. But if we look at teams that have won or teams that have gone to the World Series and won it, their bullpen is good.
the pitching.
Or yeah, their bullpen's good starting pitching. Like a team that kind of gives me an outlier on that is the Nationals, where
That's what I
they
was gonna say.
relied they
2019.
rely with a few guys. I forgot his name. It was when he came in and almost pitched every single game for the Nationals late. But it's just like to win, you need pitching. When you starting pitching, you need a bullpen.
Mhm.
Everything else will come in gradually. And I think right now the weak spot for the Astros is the pitching, which is crucial for a championship team.
Yeah, I mean, it's very crucial. I mean, 2019 Nationals, you had Strasburg, you had Scherzer, you had Patrick Corbin, and the bullpen was pretty solid. They made some moves there. Same thing as the Braves in 21, the night shift, as they were called, when Masaryk, Will Smith. I mean, there's a bunch of other guys I can't think of the top of my head right now. Astros in 2022, the bullpen was solid, and the Rangers too. Their bullpen did damn well against the Astros in the ALCS. So bullpen and pitching is key if you're going to want to repeat, not really repeat, but go back to the World Series and get that ultimate goal of winning a trophy. So,
I, w- I will say this though. If the Astros generally want to add a key piece to their roster, I don't see no way they don't go over the luxury tax. I feel like there's no avoiding it. Like,
mhm,
because every team has needs, every team has injuries, every team has things that they need to rely on. And with the Astros being so close to like close to luxury tax and the way the market is right now,
mhm,
I see no way of avoiding it unless you're really taking these risks on like maybe for example Shintaro Fujinami. He throws fast, had a bad season. 7.18 ERA. Was traded to the Orioles, but I would say, but you see, like you would have to take risk on guys that have not proved themselves yet. So it's just like it'll be
mhm.
hard to do something.
Well, yeah, I mean, so far the Astros have done that. They've been basically kind of bargain shopping in like through free agency, through trade. I mean, think about Dylan Coleman. I think honestly, I like I said, I really think this guy has a great shot of making himself look like a jet reliever because and if you look at his arsenal that he has and the location, I mean, it looks really great, honestly. And then the Astros, I'm trying to figure out the pitcher that they got from the White Sox. I don't know if it was a trade or they acquired him off of waivers. Oh, off of waivers. Got it right here. Oh no, it's on YouTube. Never mind. Not gonna go there. Anyway, they did sign somebody off of waivers. I just can't find the name right now. Uh, Declan Cronin, another guy that he was DFA'd by the White Sox, and then the Astros claimed him. So they did go. They did do some bargain shopping, but at the same time too, like you said, if they're going to be legit contenders, it starts now because the Mariners aren't going nowhere. They've already been making moves, like you said. The Rangers, reigning World Series champions, and then I honestly, you can't sleep on the Angels. You don't know what the Angels are going to do really,
Yeah,
because I've heard their names with Blake Snell, and it's all
yeah.
you need is one great starting pitcher, and you've seen how their starting pitching is. It's not that bad.
Sure. I mean, and there's plenty of relievers out there. Like we got Amir Garrett, you got Ryan Brazier, Adam Ottavino, Brad Hand. You have Aaron Liu, Phil Maton, the Stanek. You have a
You got
ton of
Stanek
guys you
still
could,
out, yeah.
yeah, you have a ton of guys you can kind of make an offer with. We just named you our four. Like we could talk about more than 2 hours on this, right? So we just named
Yeah.
you like four. But if you have any like suggestions for the Astros, like put in the comments. Like let me post this podcast tomorrow. Like, well, let us know.
Yes, leave us those comments. If you like the guys we had announced, or you have some ideas too of what pitchers they should go ask for, put down the comments. Of course, we'd like to love and hear what you have to say. But speaking of deals and trying to figure out what's going to happen in the future, the Astros arbitration deals have been settled. Of course, we posted our podcast episode on Thursday. The following day, they decided to do the arbitration. So Astros didn't do bad this year. 6 players avoided arbitration, and the Astros and the Noble players have agreed upon their deals. Luis Garcia will be making 1.875 million. Jose Urquidy will be making 3.75 million. Framber Valdez will be making 12.1 million. Brian Abreu 1.75 million. Chas McCormick 2.85 million, and then outfielder Kyle Tucker 12 million. Which the Tucker one's pretty
Mhm.
interesting because
Yeah.
they didn't go to arbitration like last year, and they both agreed on a number. So that's great. Shout out to Tuck too for getting married. Congrats on the Tuckers.
Yeah. Congrats. But
Congrats.
I
But
think. Go ahead. Go
go
ahead. Go
ahead.
ahead.
No.
I was gonna say being able to come, to an agreement with guys like Kyle Tucker, even Brian Abreu, at this point, really great for like that relationship between the player and the management. I know last year we are talking about how it could damage it and how it could,
Mm-hmm.
make Tucker not want to be here anymore. So I'm glad they were kind of making that agreement because I know an extension offer might be coming, and if they're already on a good relationship, good things, it'll be clear to work things out. Whereas if Kyle Tucker would have gone to arbitration for a second year in a row, I think that relationship's like on thin ice at that point.
Yeah, I mean it's a positive step in the marketing business side of it, and of course, I think Astro fans will love Tucker. I think a lot of them too had talked about finally making a 10-year case for this guy. I
You
mean, the
think?
guy has all the five tools.
What's your opinion on that? You think we think the Astros should break their 10 year and give it to Kyle Tucker?
I think he should be the first one. I said it from last year during the season because this guy is, I mean, knocking on wood again. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt or anything like that. Hasn't been hurt that much. If anything, he's maybe sit about 3 days, possibly a 7-day IL stint. But the guy has the speed. Obviously, he was close to 30-30. He has the power, the contact, and then of course the fielding. He won a Silver Slugger. He won a Gold Glove last year. Two-time All-Star already. I think this is where you put your 10 years right here on a guy like Tucker. No offense to
Let
Jordan
me
Alvarez, because I think Alvarez is a 10-year guy, but if you're going to give it to somebody right now, I believe it's Kyle Tucker.
let me ask you this. So Kyle Tucker is 26 years old right now,
Mhm.
right? If you give him that 10, and so is Jordan Alvarez. They're both 26 years old. If you give both of them an extension, because I think Jordan Alvarez has earned a 10-year contract, but I do not disagree with you about when you say Kyle Tucker has a 10-year contract too. I can see that,
Mhm.
right? Now we know Jordan Alvarez is leaning more to that DH role, right? So he's gonna
Yeah.
gonna feel maybe once or twice a week, or maybe even once or twice a month, for that matter as well, right? We know to be that
What?
DH. I don't know, right? The way they actually want to play it, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, Now at the age 36, say age 36, 35, 34, do you still see Kyle Tucker as an outfielder, or do you see him more like? Because again, there's only like what I'm trying to make, because there's only one
Yeah.
DH spot, and we know if your numbers gets that 10 year, that's gonna be his spot for the most part. Because I don't think you want a 35-year-old Jordan Alvarez running in the outfield. Uh, what does that leave Kyle Tucker though?
Okay, with the Alvarez situation, he already signed a 6-year
Mhm.
extension.
Yeah,
So after the 5th year or 6th year, I think the Astros would probably go back and see what they could find out
yeah,
about,
right.
see the
Forgot about that.
progress, what
Mhm.
Alvarez had done. But Tucker, otherwise in the outfield, I wouldn't mind it. I mean, I think he's still that guy until he shows you he's not that guy anymore. I
Mhm.
would say.
He reminds me of a Michael
A great
Brantley.
I mean, Michael Brantley, a guy he reminds me of really is an Alex Gordon. Alex Gordon played the
Mhm.
outfield for so many years, had so many gold gloves. Andrew Jones the same way, 10 plus gold gloves in the outfield. If Kyle Tucker continues to do the same thing and his arm continues to be dominant every time you try to run on him, I mean, he's going to give you a great shot, either being a bang bang call, being safer out. I'm pretty promising on Tucker being the outfield still. If they give him a 10-year contract extension right now and playing all the way at 35 or 36, like I said, until I don't see him, the progress, if it's not doing too well, then maybe you go into saying, okay, well, this time, Tucker, you're going to be a DH for these amount of days and you're going to be in right field for these amount of days. Until I see it,
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
and actually, Kyle Tucker's birthday is Thursday. I'm sorry, it's
And
Wednesday,
he got
January
married,
17th.
got married, and he's already celebrating his birthday. Imagine an anniversary day, and then the following week is your birthday.
RIP to
Well,
his wife. And I has to get gifts for both occasions. Like,
that's how it is with my wife. I have to get birthday and Christmas, November and December. So
yeah,
yeah,
that
you
is
know how
true.
that goes.
Yeah,
But
for
real
sure, for
quick, we
sure.
forgot one Astro on the list, and that is
Go ahead.
Mauricio Dubon, the utility guy, who had a great season in 23. But the Astros and him didn't come to an agreement, so they will be going to a hearing. Astros number 3 million, Dubon's number 3.5. So they're 500 apart right there. Who do you think wins this
500,000.
case?
You know what? I would say Astros. Now, I think the bond earned those extra 500,000 just because without Dubon this past season, the Astros might not be in the playoffs at all,
Yeah.
right? But the Astros do have a strong case just because he's not a starter. He's more of a utility guy. He
Mhm.
plays when he gets the opportunity, but I think the Astros, yes, like fans might be thinking it's like it's just 500,000. Like probably Jim Crane's bed is worth 500,000 or something like that. Like he doesn't really need that money. But when you're trying to look for a bullpen guy or an extra guy, I think like every penny counts in this case. But Dubon has a strong case. At the end of the day, I think the Astros win this one.
Can they agree mutually on 3.25?
I believe
Can
so.
they?
Believe so. Or it might be too late. I think that's the whole point of the arbitration process.
No, to negotiate. Yeah, you make
Yeah,
sense. Either 3 or 3.5.
yeah. I think now that's the.
Hey, this is the same situation as last year with Kyle Tucker, though.
Mhm.
So I think I agree. I do think the Astros win this, but from the season Dubon had 20 game hitting streak,
Yeah.
Gold Glove as a utility player. I mean, Dubie showed really like this guy's worth 3.5 million, but of course we're not in that room trying to figure out who gets
It's
what.
not our money.
Yeah, it's not our money either. We're not writing the checks here. We're just, putting our opinion, our thoughts out there. But Doobie should be making 3.5, but that's baseball and that's the business aspect of it, you would say.
Absolutely. Now, again, the Astros uncertainty continues, right, with this bullpen, and they need arms. They need arms, and maybe some of these new guys that they just signed. I'm not gonna say they're gonna be up here like next year, but hey, again, maybe they could be the future because Astros signed 9 international free agents. Now, let me go over the list real quick, and then I'm gonna tell you one that I'm kind of interested by. So the first guy was Alexi Quiroz. He's from Macaray, Venezuela. 17-year-old catcher. That's I like
Pretty
that.
solid.
Yeah, pretty solid. Amuri Ramirez, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He's 16 outfielder, which that one kind of was threw me kind of off because it's Pennsylvania. So I guess he was born in
I think
like
he's
Latin
Dominican
America.
American, I would say.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay, that makes sense. And we have Angel Peralta from Santiago, Dominican Republic. 17 years old, right-handed pitcher. Cesar Hernandez from Sacti Spiritus, Cuba. 20. Christian Navarro from Chiriquí, Panama. 16.
Panama.
He's a- There we go. We got another one.
It's a
He's a
first.
right-handed pitcher. Yeah. Eduardito Lopez from Nagai, Dominican Republic, 16 is an infielder. Francelli Silverio, Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, 17. Infielder Kevin Santana from Miches, Dominican Republic, 16. And Luis Rivas from Sancti Spiritus, Cuba, 19. He's an outfielder. Now, the one that really caught my attention, because if you notice a trend,
Hmm.
except one of these guys, they're all 17, 18, 19. Now we're talking about Cesar Hernandez from Sancti Spiritus, Cuba. He's 20 years old.
20 years old.
Now, that gets me thinking. Do you think he has a chance to be in the major leagues maybe next year? And because wasn't Framber Valdez signed late too and made a quick and was quick through the minor leagues as well, if I'm not mistaken?
I want to say yes, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
The interesting part, like you said, they're 20 years old, signed from Cuba. Think about, I mean, they signed Yuli Gurriel in an MLB contract, and what he was like 30 something.
Yeah, but he came straight to I mean, he was starting first baseman
That's
that
what I'm
year
saying. He
too.
was a starting. Yeah, he was a starting guy. Uh, I mean, yeah, you never know what can happen. Honestly, just think of. I always go back and think of the guy from last year. That was the number one international prospect, and that was Ethan Salas. 19 years old. The guy's already in Double A or Triple A right now for the Padres.
Oh wow.
So it could be a case for Cesar. You don't know what can happen at this point, but it'd be interesting. I was trying to figure out who was the guy that uh Francis Romero's shout out to him. He was the one getting all the international
Yeah,
signings. My gosh, I think
he was
that'd be
staying
crazy
busy.
for me to do. Yeah, he was very busy. But he was talking about Luis Miguel Rivas. I got the tweet right here. Athletic
Go ahead.
outfielder, switch hitter, speed, and elite arm. Which the Astros did have a top 50 prospect, but it just slashed off whenever you read the article on MLB Pipeline, which I don't know if it's confirmed because they didn't announce it on the nine international signings. There was a guy named Anderson Pala, outfielder from the Dominican Republic,
Hmm. I
and
wonder what
Brian
happened there.
McTaggart. I don't know, but Brian McTaggart too had it on his tweet, but it wasn't announced as he was signed to the Astros. So very interesting thought right there. But I mean, think about it, though, the free agent signings. I think this helps the Astros a lot, international wise, from Christian Javier to Framber Valdez to Jose Urquidy, Brian Abreu. Um, I mean, all these guys that are really successful right now. That's where it came from. Jordan Alvarez was a international signing too, but he came from the
Hmm.
Dodgers, came from that trade, and you've seen how he's hitting right now. So yeah, I mean the international pool plays a huge part for this organization because of course the Astros are like 28, 29, 30th could be as well in the farm system rankings, but just because of the international pool that the Astros signed from these guys helps them a lot.
Okay. And I actually got and like thank you um for the Rivas information because I like as you were speaking, I was actually looking for some information on Hernandez as well.
Mhm,
So Hernandez is expected to get a 1.7 million bonus, like a signing bonus for.
mhm.
So what that tells me, that's their guy. That's the that was like maybe one of the main
The
guys that we're
number one
looking
guy.
at. Yeah, that
Yeah,
we're
and
looking
then
at.
that
Go
Rivas
ahead.
got a 900,000 bonus as well.
That's
So
correct. I
all,
mean,
all the news we're giving you right here came from Francis Romero. So shout out to him.
yeah, honestly. And so I guess those were the two main guys that we're looking at. And this is again from an article from the Houston Chronicle, but the information was brought by Francis Romero as well.
Mhm.
It says Astro senior scouting advisor Charlie Gonzalez described Hernandez in a statement as a strong, twitchy, and muscular center fielder with a rare combination of hit ability, power, and speed. His impact ability from the left side and elite straight line speed stood out during the scouting process, the latter of which will rank towards the top of our system. So
Wow.
there we go. There we go.
High regardings of this guy right here.
Yeah.
Did they
So
say anything about his defense though? Because I want to kind of speculate and kind of compare him to a player I'm already thinking of.
no, actually, we got yeah, nothing on his
Nothing on
defense.
defense because I'm just
Yeah,
saying there's a guy out there right now in the majors.
I think I know who you're going
I
with.
think you might know. He's a Gold Glove guy already too in his rookie year. Luis Robert Jr. I'm getting a
That's it.
little bit of
That's the
feeling
guy.
on
Yeah.
that right now. Just imagine him almost as the same as Robert Jr., which the Astros have been kind of, keeping their eyes on.
Hmm.
Imagine.
Okay. Now
Wow.
he does have a lot of work to do because I looked up his
Yeah.
numbers um on Baseball Reference. Again, I don't know. I mean, Reference is pretty accurate as well. In 38 games, he had like in 38 games, he had 94 plate appearances. He had 8 RBIs, one double, two triples, 17 hits, and a 22.33 batting average. Now, Astros coaches are top coaches out there, could easily
Player
change,
development.
yeah, some mechanics around, something, and we could see that what that comparison, right? Because it literally says rare power and speed combination, like you were saying, Robert, uh, Luis Robert Jr. holds those things as well. So I like it. And then he's 20. So and it will come back to the top of their system. So that could be a guy that can go like maybe
2 years like that. I
yeah.
could see a 2-year gap. If that's the case and he makes strong progress through the system, you could see this guy in 2025
I
or
believe so.
2026 possibly.
I believe so. Really good. Really good signings for the Astros. Now, if you want more information on the rest of the international signings, please look up Francis Romero and then the Houston Chronicle also posted a little article there. You can also read up to that as well. But no, I mean they put in work. I think the Astros is one of the teams that with one of the most signings in the
Yeah, I
international
got it
poll.
right here. And once again,
Go ahead.
I do got the Francis Romero guy. Like Angel said, if you want to get this guy, Francis Romero. Frances or Francis Romero. Sorry if we're not saying that right, but anyway, he said the Houston Astros now have 22 players, Cuban-born players, in their system, leaders among the 30 MLB organization. That's what I'm telling you. That's why I have a case for Aroldis Chapman right there. Even
Yeah.
though a lot of fans won't like it, right there just tells you that Yuli Gurriel was that trailblazing guy to help Houston look at Cuban-born players.
Hmm. And you know what? I feel like I'm leaning towards you a lot more now with this. I wrote this Chapman.
Come on. I'm
Uh,
pulling you, dog. I'm pulling you
you're
right now.
putting me, and just because of that Cuban connection type of thing, I feel like, for example, if I were going somewhere else to play, I would like to play with people that talk like me, that, look like me, that eat the same foods, right? So there's this guy that still hasn't been signed, but there's links to it, and the Astros could use pitching. Yeah, yeah, Red Rodriguez is still a free agent
That's why I
looking to,
forgot. We forgot
uh,
about him.
yeah, like looking to sign with the team. Now, Blue Jays are front runners, but the Yankees, Giants are still in talks as well. But again, actually to put those Cubans in, start bringing them in so you can get this
You
guy as well.
also got a manager that's Puerto Rican, the Latino effect right there.
Yeah,
Right there. We're wide open right there, showing you that. I mean, and I think our team consistently though is a big Latino team.
yeah, absolutely. It makes sense. Houston's the most diverse city, right? So,
Yep.
and that's another attraction right there. Come to Houston. Um, but that's pretty much it for Astros. Again, it's the off season. That we try to kind of bundle up everything that goes on throughout the week, just so you can stay informed, just in case you miss something. But let's talk about the major leagues now. So again, there's been some off season trades, off season talks, off season signings that go on. But I'm gonna start with the bullpen because that's something that this was the theme of this
Yeah.
episodes, and is a familiar guy whose name's his name's heating up, and that's Hector Neris. Now, they're talking to the agent already, they're on the phone, but you want to guess who's the top two teams interested in Hector Neris that the Astros just completely cannot stand?
Hmm. Dodgers and Yankees.
You got one of them. Yankees and Rangers are the top two
Wow.
candidates interested in Hector Neris. And you saw how the Dodgers are spending. You saw how you know, the Yankees have potential to spend. I think the Astros might be outbid on this one, but hopefully, again, that's why I said in the beginning that hometown discount is going to be needed to get Hector Neris in. And a big guy that Lorenzo was on, and me too as well. Jordan Hicks signed with the Giants, 4 year, $44 million. Now, Dana Brown before this injury was said he was not going to overpay for a bullpen guy. Right?
Hmm.
He said he's not going to do it. Now, will things change? Maybe, could be. I don't know, right? But they're kind of stern on that. They don't want to overpay. Now, Jordan Hicks was going to be a bullpen guy for the Astros if he was signed. The Giants are interested in using him as a starter, so he might be
Oh wow.
a projected starter in their rotation this season. Now, he did start a little bit with St. Louis. I know he came more of a high reliever, but he did slowly make his way as a starter. So the Giants are going to test that out for sure.
I think I would have overpaid if if Kendall Graveman with that news happened before Jordan Hicks had signed. I would have aggressively went after Hicks. Hicks is
Oh
only
yeah,
27 years old,
oh yeah.
and you
And
see the
then
potential on that kid too.
then I think 11 million could have gone. I feel like you can get more
Yeah.
for your bargain because that's not bad. And then you'll have three guys, and I mean it's a good problem to have as well. You would have had J.P. France, Hunter Brown, and Jordan Hicks who could be potential starters and work in the
Yep.
bullpen and have that experience and are comfortable with it because again, you saw the injuries that happened last year, right? So
Hmm.
that would have been great. I agree with you there. But your guy again, you had what if you like
Side
two
Creek
guys this
alum.
offseason? Yep, and
Side Creek
hometown.
alum.
I don't know, but he wasn't trying to get that hometown discount to the
Hometown.
Astros either. But this is another your boy right here, Marcus Stroman. He signed with the Yankees for 2 year, $37 million. See, to me, that's a little more on the pricey side for me on
I
that.
wouldn't mind it. I like Stroman's game, honestly. And that's the reason why I consider him as my boy. I mean, the guy throws, he shows a lot of enthusiasm, electric stuff. If you recall his WC days with Team USA, big game moments, the guy's up to the task. And obviously, the Astros are still in that position of being in the big game moments in the playoffs, anything like that. I think he would have fit in with this clubhouse perfectly. But
Yeah.
happens. I think Yankees got a good pitcher. A lot of Yankee fans aren't happy about this signing,
Ooh, why not?
but
Talk to me.
I'm not sure. I'm not a Yankee fan. I mean, I don't cover the Yankees either, but I've seen some comments regarding the Yankees fan base that they're not too. extraordinary kind of enthusiastic about this signing. But
What what don't the Yankees complain about?
I don't know. I mean, but think about it. You got Cole, um, Rodon, Stroman, Cortez. It's not bad. It's not a bad
Yeah.
rotation, I'd say. If they just
Oh
stay
yeah,
healthy, though.
you're absolutely right. And then again, that's the key, health.
Hmm.
And then before we let you go, let's give you some updates on the Hall of Fame. It's next week. Tune in. Billy Wagner still up there, still has a chance. Now, I think the one that might be on the edge is Gary Sheffield. I'm sure he's sitting on the edge of the couch on that one, trying to see. But let me give you some top, like the top people who have a potential to be in. Let's start with Adrian Beltre, 98.8% of the votes. I don't know how people don't vote for him first ballot. I think there's 2 votes that didn't vote for him, if I'm not mistaken. Is it a one or two?
It's the same thing as Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera, or Derek
Yeah,
Jeter for sure. Rivera was
because
an unanimous.
yeah, and then Ken Griffey was
Ken
gonna be the
Griffey
first
was
in
the other
after.
one. That's the one I was
Yeah,
thinking of.
I think he only missed 1 vote. Like one person didn't vote for him, and that caused for me unanimous. That's crazy. But thanks.
Yep.
Another one is Todd Helton. He's at 83%. Joe Mauer, and honestly, so Joe Mauer surprised to me. I
I'm
thought he was.
telling you, I think he's a first ballot guy.
Oh, I mean, I absolutely think he is now. I mean, 83%. Yeah, yeah, you still got a lot of votes coming in. I think there's only about less than 50, right, just under 50% reviewed, I believe. So you
Hmm.
still have like a long way to go. But
Yeah.
I don't see Joe Mauer falling super down. Which
If he
again,
doesn't get in this year, I think next year, strong case of being in.
yeah, absolutely. Which honestly, I was surprised. I think maybe he gets in his fifth, sixth year, like first ballot.
The
Shout out
numbers he
to
has, dude, of his career wise and the accolades and the all stars and all the other stuff, MVP as well, and a catcher as a catcher too. Think about that, how hard that has to be an MVP as a catcher. And you're calling the game. You're basically the general on the field. It's
yeah,
the catcher and then it's the shortstop.
yeah,
So
well
yeah,
played, Mauer. And we got Billy Wagner at 79.4%. And then we got Gary Sheffield, who's right at the cusp, 75.2%. Like, have you been tracking the ballots, like when they come out, like on Twitter and stuff like that?
I have. I've been looking whenever at not Mr. T-Bits, I
Tidbits.
think is
Yeah.
Tidbits.
Hmm.
Yeah, shout out to Ryan out there on Twitter, on X for tracking this stuff, him and his team. I
Yeah.
mean, I've been looking at it and it's very interesting to see like the percentage, how many votes you need this and that, what makes you eliminated from the ballot and from the voting and things like that. I think that's very interesting. But yeah, I've been keeping track. Obviously, ever since we before even two, we've interviewed Billy Wagner.
Go check that
You
podcast out.
yeah, if you haven't checked it out, go to our YouTube channel or even on our podcast episodes wherever you get them. We have our stuff down there on the ticker. But I think honestly, seeing the guys not get in, I just my personal opinion, three. If you're voting three guys, I mean, you have your reasons, but in my opinion, it's like okay, well, why vote if you're only gonna put if you have you have up to 10 people you could vote for, and you're only voting three. Like I said, you have your opinion, you have your thoughts. This is your ballot. Completely understand, but if I'm in your shoes, I wouldn't be voting three.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you 100%. But I
But yeah,
mean, yeah, like I've been keeping track, and I feel like every time I see Gary Sheffield's name twice, and I don't see it again, then then when the votes are coming in. So, but we'll see. Hopefully,
Wagner has a
hopefully they
chance.
get
I'm
it.
telling you. When we talked about, I think it's on the Wags for Hall of Fame episode. I said he either gets in at 75 or 76%, or he just misses out with 74, 73. And I think last year he had 72 or 69. One of those numbers. I can't remember, but I mean, he has a strong case this year, actually. He's flipped
And
some
this,
votes as well.
and this is I just got a little update as we're this is part of Ryan's team. This was posted at 5:29 p.m. So just right, we'll start like right before starting the
Yeah, we'll
podcast.
start podcast.
It says with 165 public ballots in the Baseball Hall of Fame tracker, it's looking good for Todd Helton and Billy Wagner. It would
Wow.
take it would take a record drop off on private ballots for them to fall short.
Hold on. I'm going to the tweet.
That was posted 51 minutes ago. This podcast started recording 55 minutes ago. So just right before we started.
Nathaniel Rakic is his
There you
name
go.
at
Yes.
Baseball OT.
Yes.
Wow, you gotta be happy about this. Honestly, if you're a Nationals fan, you feel for Billy Wagner, all-time saves leader with 422 saves. I think he'll be the first. I don't think John
Yeah.
Franco's in the Hall of Fame, so he'll be the first lefty closer into the Hall.
Now, again, this is just a theory, right? But for sure, but they've been tracking it. They've been doing their due diligence on that. So for him to say that, I think that speaks much volume on that.
Todd Helton, he just missed it out last year. It was only just think about it. Scott Rowland was the only guy in the Hall last year.
Yeah,
There's a possibility you could have 3 guys or 4 guys going into the Hall this year. So
absolutely.
very, very happy to see Wags, potentially being that Hall of Famer. Great guy,
Absolutely.
great person. Obviously, you got to listen to the episode if you haven't done so. So do yourselves a favor and go do that, and then do yourselves a favor as well at the end of this podcast. Subscribe to this YouTube channel that we have, or go follow us at our podcast platforms: Google, Spotify, Apple. Leave us a rate. Leave us some comments. We haven't had a comment since October. Brand new
Yeah.
year. Let's go. Let's start strong. We got to
So
get some 5 stars. Yep, time's ticking. Time is ticking. But of course, that's the end of our show. And like Angel said, Hall of Fame announcement is next week on January 23rd. And then, of course, if you're in the Houston area, the Astros Fan Fest is this coming Saturday, January 20th. So if you don't have your vouchers, I think you have to buy them for $1, I would say, or I think. Just head on to astros.com/fanfest and secure your dollar voucher for the Astros Fan Fest. A lot of festivities there if you haven't gone. You get to play catch on the field, tour the clubhouse. There's activities for everybody, family, your kids. I mean, it's awesome. Awesome time to be with the fam.
yes, take your kids. Take your kids. Cheap stuff too.
Yeah, not just that. Have them run around, and when you get home, bam, everybody's knocked out. You don't have to worry about anything. Go sleep. Going for the next day. But also on Saturdays, the Texan game. We're not a Texan podcast, but we support the Houston local area teams. So CJ
And
Stroud
until
could
then,
be that guy and
yeah,
shock the world right there. So
yeah. Like even though we're National Podcast, I would say we're still Texans fans as well.
yeah.
Like we don't cover football, so but we are
Yeah, if you want to
Texans
hear
fans.
some football content though, go to our friends at Just Fans Pod. They do a
Absolutely.
great job covering the Houston Texans. Very great job. They know their stuff over there for football. But till then, we hope you have a safe weekend. Y'all stay safe, stay warm, especially in this weather. And we'll talk to you next week. We'll see if Billy Wagner's in the hall, or we'll just continue to talk about great things about the guy. But until then, we'll talk to y'all next week.
Peace.